Guess us! Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. As you know, I'm Steph, if you are a returning subscriber that is, and I've got Natasha here today.
Yeah, hi guys, how are you?
And basically we are going to do a beginner's makeup tutorial.
Yeah, because I'm really passionate about makeup, and Steph, you definitely get into it, don't you? And there's like a gap in the market on YouTube where there's no like easy to follow beginners tutorials. It's all this really like complicated contouring and art. So we're just going to take it really back to basics today with a really natural makeup tutorial to see what you guys think, really.
Yeah, because as you know, I don't really wear that much makeup, and most of my friends and my girlfriend Megan doesn't wear makeup, and we're kind of confused as to like what to do and where to start. And whenever I look on YouTube, I type in basic makeup tutorial for beginners, and I just get like really complicated stuff. I get people like spraying brushes going, this is to set it and this is to do these specific things, and I'm just like, I don't own any of that for a start.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what to do. It's meant to be beginners. So we have found that there isn't anything like that, so we want to try and do that because, well, you should tell them about your background with makeup and how you do modelling and all that.
Yeah, so I used to do modelling. I don't really do it anymore now. I want to be a presenter, but I used to do modelling. And then before that, I was a beauty consultant for a bit of time at Selfridges. And I've always just really been into makeup, haven't I? And me and Steph actually met when we went to college together. So that was about, how long ago
on a
was
media
it
course. That was
5 years ago?
Yeah, that was like 2012 to 2014.
Yeah.
Before I went to university.
Yeah, a long time. So, yeah, we've been friends ever since then. But I lived in London for a long time, so we didn't get the chance to spend as much time together.
Yeah.
So this was a little bonding exercise.
Yeah. Because as you know, I live pretty much near Birmingham, and that's quite a distance to London to a certain extent. Because like she was always busy all the time with work and meeting in the same place, same time. It was
hard.
So tricky. You know, and she's been giving me some tips about London as well, which we'll probably touch on
do in a different
another video, yeah.
But now, let's start with the tutorial.
Yay!
Okay, so here you can see Steph's beautiful face. Woo. But the first step we're going to do is to prime the face. If you're really new to makeup, don't worry too much about this step. If you don't have a primer, what I would recommend is just a soft moisturiser, because that's going to make a real perfect base for your foundation. So ones I would recommend is something like Simple moisturisers. They're really good, they're really clean, and make for a good base. But today we've got this Max Factor, which is Face Finity. So I'm just going to use 2 pumps of this on Steph's face.
And that's 2 pumps for my whole face.
Yeah. And you don't need to be super neat with this. Just honestly rub it into the whole of the face. Like so. You don't need to have any amazing skill to be able to do this. I like to put a little bit on the lips as well. On the eyes. It's all over Steph's lovely skin. Woo! Also a bit down onto the neck if you can. You just want to slather it over everywhere. Okay, so the next step we're going to be doing is applying the foundation. If you're a beginner and you're a bit scared of getting the right colour match with foundation, anything like that, I would recommend sticking to a BB cream. BB creams are a really nice natural alternative. They're easy to blend. They don't last as long, but they're really good for day-to-day activities. Maybe if you're going to the gym and you just want an all-over base, I really recommend BB creams. If not, you can get a foundation, and most stores, department stores will colour match you. So whether that's BB cream or foundation, you can get some idea when you go to a shop. Someone will be able to recommend for you. But a general rule of thumb is you want to get the same colour tone as your skin. So there's 3 categories you can have. There is cool, warm, or neutral. Now Steff's is neutral. She does have some pink shading over her face. Yeah, just some sort of blush. But naturally, if you actually look at the tone of her skin, it is neutral. And if you're really unsure about what colour tone you are, I would recommend looking at the veins in your wrist. Now, if they're more of a blue shade, that means you're a cool undertone. If they're more of a green, that means you're warm. And then if you're middle of the road, if you can see a bit of bluey green, then you're probably neutral. Again, always go to a department store if you're sure. And don't just assume because you're really pale that you're going to be cold undertones or warm tones. People with really dark skin can be cool or warm, just like people with really light skin can also be cool or warm. So if you're always unsure, look at your veins or go to a department store to get some advice. So first of all, what I'm going to do is apply the foundation to my hand. I'm going to use about that much. That's pretty standard for whatever foundation you choose to use. Now I'm going to blend it in with this brush, which is actually Steff's.
Real Techniques brush.
Real Techniques. These are lovely brushes, but if you're not comfortable using a brush, honestly, just go with your fingers. I really recommend always using your hands when you're unsure. And also the heat and warmth from your hands makes it easier to blend in. So that's just a good
And what foundation are we using?
We are using today
Clinique Alabaster in the shade. Does it say stuff
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, it's Alabaster is the shade, and it's a Stay Matte oil free
Yeah.
makeup.
Because I find with foundations they don't react to my skin very well. They feel quite heavy on my face.
Yeah.
So this one's a light one.
Yeah, there's different types of foundations that you can get. You can get liquid foundations, powder foundations. You can get all sorts. You can get solid foundations from MAC. But what I would really recommend is starting off with a liquid foundation, because for me they're the easiest to blend. They're the most giving and great for beginners.
Because it's tricky for beginners to choose from such an amount of items.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to choose from that people get confused. You know, it's like when you go into any kind of drugstore and you just want something as basic as, like, even like a deodorant, and there's so many to choose from. And you're like, well, I just want it to do its purpose, you know?
Yeah.
So makeup, you're like, oh, I've got this one, this one, this one. And you're just like, where do I start? So that's what this video is for, really.
Yeah. And so if I have any left over, I just swoosh it around on my brush and then bring it over on Steff's face. And you'll notice I'm also bringing it down onto the neck, which is really important. And I'm just applying a medium amount of pressure just to get it nice and even all over. As you can see, I'm putting it over the eyelids, putting it pretty much everywhere. Make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies. Sorry, Steph.
It's funny.
Also, if you get it over the lips as well, it really doesn't matter. Just do your thing. And again, like I said, if there's anything that needs blending out, honestly, you can just use your fingers.
Because you don't want lines.
No, you don't want lines, and it gives a really natural finish. Most supermodels actually use their fingers, so don't feel you need to go out and buy a really expensive brush, because you don't.
You don't.
Okay, so next step, we're going to move on to Steff's eyebrows, filling them in. Now, Steff has some beautiful, well-groomed eyebrows. Love them. But we're just going to fill them in a tiny amount. Now, Steff was gifted this. It's a W7 brow bar. But this is just pretty simple. Now, usually I would suggest something not as warm as this. These shades are really quite warm and sometimes can look a bit orangey. I think for today it's fine. But generally, if you're looking for something to use on your eyebrows, I would suggest something very neutral brown and with no sparkle in it, no shimmer. You just want it very matte, very neutral. You can get that in standard eyebrow quads like this, or you can literally just use a brownish eyeshadow from any palette. Don't think you've got to go out and spend loads of money, because you really don't. And to let it get a bit more grip, I've just dipped it in a bit of water. Again, hardly any, to the point where you can't even see that I've dripped it in water, just a tiny, tiny bit. And then I'm gonna just swirl it in the palette very softly. Tap off any excess.
Sister swirl.
You wanna just lift your chin a bit, Steph? And then just slightly feather it in. You want to be soft with your application and just use very small brush strokes following the curve of Steph's eyebrow. Again, this is only a beginner's tutorial, so don't worry about it looking too perfect or defined. The point of this look is it's very natural. And you're going to look beautiful without putting loads of effort in. Okay, so I've just dipped it in with the water again, tapped off any excess, and now going in on the other side. Just make sure you're always going the same direction as the hairs. You're not going the opposite way like this, because then you're messing up the way the hairs are forming and the way they're aligned, and it's just going to look quite messy. And also at the end, just taper it off. Don't spend too much time on the end because you want that definition, and it's not going to be the same thickness the whole way over. You want it to slowly thin out. So you might notice I'm spending most of my time at the front. Okay, looking nice. Woo. So,
I wish you could do my makeup every day.
So the next step, we're going to be moving on to the eyes. Now for eyes, again, you probably only need 3 or 4 colours. Don't feel like you need to go out and go overboard and buy loads of products. There's really no need.
I did.
Yeah, you got a lot. So the first thing I'm going to be using is the Avon True eyeshadow palette. And I'm going to be using this sort of creamy white shade. So what you want is a shimmery highlight, very light colour for the eyes. Just up here, under the brow bone. Now for me, I really like to have that shimmer. Not everyone does, but for me it just makes the eye, yeah, and it makes the area pop more.
Glitter!
But if you're a slightly darkish skin tone, you're a darker shade, I would probably recommend a colour more along the lines of this, which is more of a champagne-y colour. That's going to suit your skin tone more. But for Steph's skin tone, I would recommend more of this sort of white cream colour. So I'm literally just dabbing my finger in it, rubbing it along. For me, again, fingers work best with eyeshadow. You don't need loads of crazy brushes. And then just lift your face slightly. Thanks, Steph. And then we're literally just popping it under the end of the eyebrow here. And then we're going to do the same on the other side if you want to look slightly that way. Okay, we're just checking they're even. Might need a tiny bit more. And then we're going to use it again, lift your head, in the corner of the eye. So in the corner of the eye, and then just bring it up round to where we've shaded before.
So which palette is that?
This is, I think I said, the Avon True eyeshadow palette.
Ah.
Some of the Avon products are very hit and miss, but I like their lighter shades because they're very shimmery. They're super pigmented. They look pretty.
Yay.
So I might just do a tiny bit more. Perfecto. So next, for the lids of Steph's eyes, we're going to use another brightening shade, but we're going to use one that's slightly darker, just to give a different contrast to what she has on the eyebrow bone and what she's going to have on the lid. So I'm going to use this champagne colour that I discussed earlier. As you can see, it's a slightly darker tone, but it still has that bit of shimmer, which Steff really likes. If you're a slightly darker skin tone, again, you just want to find something similar to this, but a few shades darker. So you can use this as your highlighter in the brow bone, and then find something a few shades darker. But again, you can experiment, have fun with it, as long as you're going for pretty neutral colours, and try and go with the same undertones in your skin, so neutral, cool or warm. You're not going to go much wrong. And if you're unsure about this, just go to somewhere like MAC, where else, I think Bare Minerals. They can advise you on your undertone and pick eyeshadows that are going to work perfectly for you. Okay, so again, I'm just rubbing my fingers in. For me, that's the easiest way, and it heats up the product. And then close your eyes. Okay, we're just going to put some more on. Okay, if you want to just turn to the side, thank you.
Not used to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just close your eyes again. I'm just going to lift Steff's eyebrows a tiny bit just to make sure I'm getting it in all the nooks and crannies. Perfect. Let me just see what we've got. I'm going to use this.
MAC.
Yeah. So next we're going to choose a slightly darker colour to fill in the sockets of Steff. I'm going to use this MAC, what's the word when you have 9 shades? It's not a quad, it's a... I don't know. Well, whatever the word is for this, we're going to use all of these. It looks really grimy, but this is because I've used it so many times, and this is a really amazing palette. I love all the colours, and they last for ages. So I'm going to pop it open and probably use a mixture of shades. So I'm going to use this one here and this brown one here. Again, you want just a sort of neutrally brown shade. For Steff, her skin tone, it would look great between these two. But I'm going to suggest some other alternatives. So you could also use something along these lines. This is in the Naked 2 palette. For warmer shades, this one would look really nice. And also, I would potentially recommend something like this, especially on warmer shades. So anything like the ones I've shown you, you can't go too wrong, to be honest. So now, if you can just close your eyes, Steff. I'm just going to fill in the socket. Just follow the natural pattern of the eye.
Tickles.
Nothing too complicated, does it? Okay, I'm just going to get a bit more on my brush. To the side for me, thank you. Try and get them as even as possible, but I'm not doing a particularly neat job. It doesn't need to be super neat because you're going to blend it out. The main thing is just to get the same amount of colour, ideally, on either side. And also don't bring it too far down. So you want to sort of end round about here. Don't follow it all the way down and meet at the eyelid, because that's going to really droop the eyes and make them look quite heavy.
That's probably what I do.
No, I'm sure you're fine. So this is what you can see I've got so far. And next we're gonna blend it out. So we're gonna use this brush that Steff has got.
Called B. It's from Superdrug.
Usually I would recommend more of a round brush, but I think for what we're doing it'll be fine. And then I'm gonna just go in with this colour here. You can use the same colour again, but you don't need the same level of product because this is more to blend it out. So maybe first off, actually when you use this brush, don't use any colour on it, just use it to blend. And then if you think it maybe needs more of a pop of colour, then you can go in the colour again and add a bit more pigment to it. Okay. And I'm just doing this in circular motions. I want to keep your head still, right? Just blend it out. It's easier to do with a round brush, do the circular motions like this. But just sort of play around with it. You want to bring it up a tiny bit. Blend the two areas out so you don't have any super thick lines. You're cracking me up.
I'm not used to it.
You're cracking me up. Okay, and the other side.
Your eggs are in the fridge.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We had lunch here the other day and I forgot I left my eggs. You're such a randomer. I swear.
She brought eggs to the house. She's like, oh, can I just make a few eggs? I was like, I'll just get my mum to make some egg. And she forgot them in the fridge.
Right, if you want to look to the side again. Right, I'm just going to pull Steff's eye up because she keeps laughing.
Alright.
It's alright.
I'll behave now.
It's alright. Make sure you're just getting rid of any harsh lines. Okay, open, nice.
Yeah.
Just see if I've got
We love a serious sister.
Ooh, I've got one.
Ah!
I've actually just found this brush I have as well. This is better, it's slightly larger, it's more of like a buffing brush. So this is more something I would recommend. If it was rounder, for me, that would be ideal. But
Who's it made by?
I don't even know. Oh, I think you got me this as well, Ted Baker. This must have been in a set you got me.
Yeah, I think at the end it says Ted Baker, London on it.
Yeah.
It does. Ted Baker.
If you can see it. Yeah, skills. Alright, so I'm just going to drop this in again a tiny bit. If you feel like you have too much product on a brush, just tap it and it will get all the excess off. As you can see, when I'm blending it out at the end, I'm always bringing it up towards the eyebrow and to this point here. I'm never going down or ruining the work that we've done on here. I'm just following the natural curve of the eye and bringing it up. Okay, now just on the end, to give it a tiny bit more definition, I'm going to go back in on the MAC palette, but I'm actually going to use a mixture of these two colours, this brown colour and then a bit of this dark brown. And I'm going to use this to define the edge of Steff's eye. Now don't feel like this is a step you have to do. You could quite happily leave it here, apply some concealer and then you're good to go. But I just want to give that option for people if you're feeling a little bit adventurous.
More definition than a dictionary.
So again, I'm just going to go in, swirl it around a little bit. I'm not pressing too hard.
That's what she said.
Oh my god, I can't deal with you. And then just tap it off. Jesus.
Tap it.
If you want to tap your head up a tiny bit, try not to cry from laughing. And then if you want to close your eye, and what we're going to do is just apply it in sort of a moon shape. Why are you laughing? Right, so in a half moon shape, just from the top to the eyelashes. That's it. You don't have to be super neat. Just try and follow where we filled in earlier with the dark brown shade, and then just bring it in to the eyes and eyelashes about halfway into the eye. Okay. Now I'm going to go in a bit more. I feel like it needs to be darker. So I'm going in with a darker shade. This is the thing with makeup. It's all pretty fun. It's all about experimentation. And if you feel like you've messed anything up or you feel like it looks like a mess, just blend it out and you'll be alright. You can't go too far wrong. So again, just close your eyes. And I'm going to go in half moon shape. For me, this looks really nice, and I don't think we need to go much darker because we're going for a pretty natural makeup look, and then I'll just blend it out a tiny bit more. And that's it. We'll do the other eye.
Whenever I try, it looks like something out of RuPaul's Drag Race. I'll go crazy with makeup.
Yeah, but their makeup is pretty good. Like, it's a bit over the top, but still, they have makeup skills. Okay, so just going to lift the eyebrow up again. And just do it in a half moon shape.
I like the moon.
I like the moon too. Okay, look at me. I'm just touching it up, trying to make sure both sides are even.
My eyelash is like stuck. There we go.
Okay, nice. Next, we're going to move on to concealer.
I was looking at it.
So next we're going to move on to concealer. Kat Von D, yeah?
Yeah.
Just got to find it first. What do you use to blend yours in with?
I use the same brush for everything.
That's alright.
I'm so gross and I'm so...
it's actually not. Sometimes I think people go a bit OTT and they buy a million brushes and you just really don't need to. Especially if you're doing like a natural look, what's the point? Yeah, so we're going to be using this Kat Von D. Again, this is in a neutral shade to match Steff's skin.
Light 5 neutral?
Yeah, so also if you're ever unsure, again, just ask someone in the store and make sure you get it for the same undertone.
Mine was matched up in store.
Yeah, this is quite a heavy concealer, so if you've got some heavy duty eye bags, definitely recommend something like this.
Mate.
But no, you're fine. But otherwise I would recommend something like Estee Lauder Double Wear. That is pretty heavy, but it's really nice, seamless finish. Maybelline do really good concealers, so you can get concealers from there. Just play around, really. Also, if you go to a drugstore, usually they have samples, so you can play around, pop it on your hand and see what you like. So I'm going to apply this directly onto the skin, if you want to just look up slightly for me. So we're going to go under the eyes. So I'm going to do about 4 dots. I think that's all you need. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the point of concealer is you're covering up any dark circles, any blemishes. Steff has really good skin, so she doesn't need much at all, but there's a bit of redness just on her chin, so I might apply a bit there. Just a bit by her hairline. And just any redness you can see. Sometimes we get a little bit of redness here.
It's like Photoshop in real life.
Exactly. But you really don't need much at all. I think some Instagram, YouTube stars, they go crazy with concealer, which looks great on camera, but realistically, in real life, it just looks way too much. And we want to do something that's going to look natural and flawless when people see you. again, for me, I really prefer to blend with my hands, especially with concealer, because it warms up the product. It just melts into the skin a lot better. And then I might touch it up with a sponge. But if you're a beginner, I think go with hands. It's easy, you don't have to spend any money, and you can really direct where the product is going. So when it's under the eyes, it's very delicate skin. So you want to just have a bit of a tapping motion. I'm going to follow the curve of the eye and just apply it there, so that we're not diminishing or covering up the hard work we've already done with the eyeshadow. And also I'm just bringing it up here, not on the middle of the nose, but just on the side. And for Steff's eye, I'm just going to pull up and then get right underneath. This probably feels a bit awkward for Steff, but if you're doing it yourself, you know, you can get into all the nooks and crannies. Is this relaxing for you? Or is it a bit like
It's like painting.
Okay, if you can open your eyes and look up slightly. Tapping it in, tapping it in, tapping it in.
Face percussion.
See, you know, you can be fun with it. It doesn't have to be super serious. Okay. Let me just see. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Looking flawless. Okay, next we're gonna move on to contour, the dreaded word, contour. Now, you'll see online a lot of really complex contouring, highlighting tutorials. I don't think you need to do anything super complicated to get the same effect. So what I'm going to be using today to do the contour.
And with contour, what I've seen like all these beauty gurus do is they like contour their nose and it looks like they can't breathe or something.
Yeah, and in real life it just looks weird. You look like you've tried to have a Michael Jackson nose, but you've kind of gone halfway there and it's just like,
Yeah.
And it's also very hard to pull off. Like, some of them have amazing skills and they can blend it out flawlessly.
James Charles.
Yeah, exactly. But for the average Joe, you're literally, gonna look like a Michael Jackson lookalike, and it's not cute at all. So, what we're going to be using for the contour is this NARS. It's called NARS Laguna. And it's just a brown neutral shade. I feel like this, again, this is really old. I've used it so much, but this has lasted me years. And this is a pretty neutral shade, which I think will work on a lot of people. And I'm just swirling it around. And I'm going to apply it direct to Steff's face.
And this stuff isn't that expensive either, is it really?
No, it's not. And you know, it lasts for so long, so sometimes you're worth spending a bit more and then getting the wear out of it.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah, NARS is pretty, it's not the cheapest, but I think definitely worth it long term. Now, Steff has a pretty round face, so we're going to try and add a bit of definition to it. For me, I really prefer powder contouring as opposed to cream contouring, which is more of a liquidy form, because I feel like it's easier to blend out, it's more forgiving, and I just prefer the general look of it. I think it looks more natural.
Because I don't know the difference.
Yeah, well, you can get all sorts of types, but the creamy one it's more of like a foundation-y consistency. It's slightly more liquidy, but it can be harder to look right, and depending on the foundation type, for me, I just prefer using a dry contour, and I think for beginners stick with that, and evolve onto liquid later on. So I'm going to start off at the top of the ears, which is also where the eyes start. So just here where her hairline is. And I'm going to create a diagonal as if I'm bringing it down to the mouth, but I'm going to stop halfway. So I'm just going to apply some more. Need quite a lot of this. So I'm bringing it down diagonally, but I'm stopping about halfway. And then I'm going to change the angle slightly and just taper it off. But I'm actually taking the brush away from the skin as I come down, because I don't want to have a brown line all the way down and it's going to look strange. What we're trying to do is basically mimic the natural contours of the cheekbones. So it's almost like a bit of an S shape. And if we can go on the other side, if you want to turn your face around. So again, halfway as if we're going to the mouth, diagonal pattern. And then just tapering it down. This is quite a soft, natural contour colour, but some of them are very pigmented. So be careful when you're rubbing into the palette, because you don't want to put loads on your brush and then look like a bit of a crazy person. Okay.
I've never been contoured before.
See, it's pretty simple, you know, and you can have a bit of fun with it, you know, just blend it out slightly if it looks a bit too hard.
If in doubt, blend it out.
Exactly, bro, exactly. And then what I love to do as well, because I have a massive forehead, if you look. Oh, it's like a massive square beast.
It's not.
It is. Steff really doesn't need it as much because she has a pretty forehead. But if you've got a...
Like an egg.
Yeah.
Got an egg face.
Well, it's better than having like a block.
Don't have a block.
But if you're like me, what you'll do is just basically apply it on the edge. So what you're doing is you're bringing it from the point of the top of the ear up to the forehead.
Which I never knew.
In the middle, and just bringing it round. And I like to do it in a sort of swirling motion because I feel like that buffers it out. And it looks the most natural like that.
So there's no harsh lines involved like some makeup tutorials feature.
Yeah, and you know, that is great if you're going for a night out, if you're going to a club or an event, all for it. But day-to-day life, you want something that's going to look good in all lighting. So you don't want anything that's going to be too harsh. If you want to just turn your head slightly. You don't want anything too harsh.
Because you know when you look in a mirror and you're like, oh, I've done my makeup, and then you look in another mirror and you're like,
oh.
And you do it again and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, and we don't want that. So, like I said, if you're in doubt,
blend it out.
Blend it out. So next up, we're going to move on to lipstick. Now, this is an old one I've got from Giorgio Armani. It's sort of a pinky, rosy colour, but it looks really nice on neutral skin tones, so we're going to wear this today. But to be honest, you really don't need to get an expensive lipstick. There's plenty of really nice ones in the drugstore, and I would recommend these soft types to start off with. You can get lip stains, you can get the lip kits like Kylie Jenner, which dry down, but for me, these are the most forgiving, and these are the best for beginners. So if you want to just lift up slightly, that's it. You'll sort of work out yourself how is the best way to apply it on your lips. But when you're doing it on someone else, this is probably the most convenient. Okay.
I don't know what this is.
If you make any mistakes, just use your fingers. And if you just lift your head up a tiny bit more. Right. Okay, if you want to just rub your lips together. So for Steff has pretty small lips, so I'm just lifting it up to get in those nooks and crannies. Why is that funny? You're laughing. You're making me smudge. Okay, rub your lips together again.
Voila.
Beautiful. Oh. And then finally we're going to apply this lip gloss. This is a lip plumping gloss and it's by e.l.f. and it's in this champagne colour and I love this. It's cheap to get. It's got a lovely colour. It plumps up your lips.
Primark.
Yeah, honestly, Primark do good lip glosses as well. Don't spend loads of money on a lip gloss and fall into the trap because it's unnecessary. They all do the same thing, to be honest. I don't think it's a UK brand, though, to be honest. Also, if you're unsure about what lip gloss shade to get, go for one like this. This is pretty neutral, or a clear gloss as well. Because it's just going to add that extra dimension to your lips. You don't need to get something too pigmented, because otherwise it's going to complicate things. You want something like this, which is pretty versatile and is going to go with most things, or clear. I have clear glosses and I wear them all the time. MAC do one, I think it's their lip glasses. They do a clear one and it's absolutely great.
I got one from Superdrug a while ago called Vinyl Gloss, which is...
So the last step on today's face is mascara. Now, mascara can be a pretty complicated thing to do. So if you're not sure, stick to a clear mascara like what we use on our eyebrows. That will help you familiarise yourself with it and not make any mistakes because they are super pigmented. Also, Steff has very long eyelashes, don't you?
Very long.
They're very envious.
Naturally very long. So I usually just use clear mascara, but not many people actually have these long eyelashes. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to use a standard black mascara.
And we're just going to apply it on the tips just to add a bit of dimension. We're not going to go too crazy. You can just lean your head back slightly. That's it. Now, the way I usually do it is I will look down into a mirror, so I'll hold it below me and then brush it up. But honestly, it's trial and error. Everyone has their own way of doing mascara. And what you might notice I'm doing is I'm just wiggling it. Because this helps separate the lashes and stop them looking clumpy. If you're not sure and you're really struggling, stick to clear mascara to start off with.
Do you know what mascara are you using?
I am using, this is Estee Lauder Double Wear Zero Smudge Lengthening Mascara. If you can see that. Okay.
Other eye?
Yeah. This is a pretty good mascara because it's quite forgiving. If you get it up here, you can just wipe it off pretty easily as long as you do it straight afterwards. Okay.
Wow. Wowee. Look at that.
They're defo popping.
They're super long.
If you just want to look at me a sec. You can super beautiful though.
I bet you find it quite fun, like, playing with such long eyelashes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Gosh. Making over a tomboy here.
One last step, which I'm not going to lie, I completely forgot, is we're just going to go back in and use the brown that we used on the socket earlier and just apply it underneath in the lash line. So I'm just going to pour... Oh, can you try and keep your eye open, babe? Thanks. I know it's hard.
Don't worry,
It's alright. Does it...
That is hard, yeah.
There we go. And lastly, wait, I'll say that again when I'm not moving in. And lastly, I'm just going to apply a bit of clear mascara to Steff's bottom lashes. Most of the time, I would suggest doing a normal pigmented colour, but because hers are so long, we're just going to use... just to separate them. And we're using a bit on the top lash as well. And that is it, guys.
I'm just showing you the final look.
Looking beautiful. What do you think, Steff?
I've never had any of this like done
Yeah.
to my face before. Like, I actually really like the contour. Like, I actually want to do that like all the time.
Let's get you a mirror.
Oh my god.
You like it?
I like the contour a lot.
It actually looks better in person, to be honest, than on camera. But your skin looks really good.
I like the contour a lot.
Are you unsure about the lips? Are you freaking out a bit?
The lips, I'm not very good with lipstick or lip gloss or anything.
Yeah.
But the contour, I like the contour a lot. And I like what you've done with the eyeshadow. I mean, I think my eyelashes are a bit too OTT because they're so long.
Yeah, but they look beautiful.
And the eyebrows are great.
You look like a little doll.
I know I do.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, guys, so I think that's everything for today, isn't it?
Yeah. If you liked this video, then of course subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button. Comment with anything you want to say. Tell us what your favourite part of the makeup tutorial was. And hopefully that's helped you out if you're a beginner and you want to get started. Yeah, hopefully this has helped you, but if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section and we'll try and respond. This has been fun, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been so good. Like, I've never had this been done before, like, ever. Yeah, and it looks good. You look really nice. I could meet James Charles looking like this. Yeah, you could. I'd be like, yes. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Yes, sir. Yeah, bye.